facilitating drug use is absolutely the inappropriate way.
Utterly giant cow. Its name is Knickers, and he's
Exactly. Look, the numbers game is going the wrong way and the bank account is running low. Look at this video just moments ago, right where I'm standing. A truck pulled up, 57 migrants getting out. They're coming from Mexicali. We're told that another 200 came overnight, and we're getting new numbers from the Tijuana officials. The delegate, Genaro Moreno, who's sort of running this operation, this is his district, tells me in total there were 6,062 migrants, of which 3,877 were men, 1,127 women, and 1,058 were children. But look, they're all tired. They're all frustrated. They're running out of patience. And that's why Luis Conde, one migrant from Guatemala who has an arrest record in the U.S., says he's going legal or illegally to get over there regardless. Listen.
Anyway, it's the same because I don't go to the other side to do something bad. I go to work. And work is work, here, there, and anywhere.
And you mentioned the cost. It's costing more than $30,000 a day for Delegate Moreno to run this tent city operation behind me, and he blames the organizers for selling false promises to these migrants. Listen.
The leaders that were promising them the Great America.
They've had press conferences down in Tijuana talking about how they're running out of money. They got 2 days worth of money left to sustain that shelter area. They say, the local officials, they will not raise taxes tomorrow to pay for the problem today. So they're looking to the federal government in Mexico for help, or else, it's unclear what's going to happen to all those people.
Many of the Mexicans are saying they're unhappy. We've talked to some of those residents that live in Tijuana saying there are thousands there that are flooding their streets and they don't want them there. Mike Pompeo is going to meet with the Mexican foreign minister on Sunday to discuss all of this, and then the foreign minister will then go on to meet with others in the administration on Monday, trying to come to a resolution.
right. Kirstjen Nielsen was, as Homeland Security Secretary, she is all over this.
Several dozen, maybe 3 dozen or 4 dozen migrants were able to get through. They were later arrested, and it sounds like they're going to be deported. But nonetheless, that makes the case the president's been talking all along, need a border wall. Well, so far it sounds like the House has appropriated $5 billion, but you need the Senate. And over on the Senate side, Chuck Schumer says, I think the $1.6 billion we've suggested already is plenty. Mitch McConnell said yesterday he's willing to work with Congress and the Democrats to get the $5 billion, but the president at the same time has made it very clear if he doesn't get the money, there's going to be a problem.
Yep. I'll shut down the government. He talked about Plan B. He told the Washington Post that he is considering Plan B for the wall. He said we need Democrat votes to have a wall. Now, if we don't get it, will I get it done another way? I might get it done another way. There are other potential ways that I can do it. You saw what we did with the military just coming in with the barbed wire and the fencing and various other things.
Yeah, here's Liz Cheney earlier on our show.
The plan is we've got to get $5 billion for the wall. The president's been clear that he's willing to shut down the government if we don't get this $5 billion. And, the Democrats, as I said, they're in a tough spot. They want to abolish ICE. They want to have open borders. The American people are watching the kind of crime that would result in terms of the people flooding across our border.
Well, the president was in closed-door session or in a meeting with a lot of these leaders in the House, these congressmen and women, and she was in that meeting, and she said he doubled down, saying, I will shut down the government if need be.
Yeah, Marco Rubio just told us, 1.6 is not enough. We need the $5 billion. You can't just build part of it. I sense that we could build part of it and then build more of it. It's easier to ask for 3 than it is for 5 next year. So if we could start doing it and people start seeing results, it could help build political momentum. But he's been doing it, and he's been working on comprehensive immigration. The other big story, this is what's happening with Robert Mueller and the probe, is really hitting warp speed right now. Whether you think it's coming to a close or you think he's gathering momentum, it really depends on what perspective you're coming from. This story broke in the middle of the radio show yesterday, so I assume around 10 o'clock, and that's The Guardian over in England breaks a story that Paul Manafort, with his known links to the Ukraine and Russia, sat down 3 separate times with Julian Assange in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, which is something he and his legal team have pushed back on wholeheartedly.
Right, and the controversy is the fact that, keep in mind, it's Julian Assange who, as the head of WikiLeaks, WikiLeaks released thousands of emails stolen from the DNC in the summer of 2016, including, according to this report from The Guardian, he met with Mr. Manafort several times, including the month when he was hired by President Trump, then candidate Trump. So the big question is, was there collusion right there with that meeting? Well, the problem with the story is both Manafort and Assange, as pictured right there, say it never happened.
They're denying it. In fact, Paul Manafort released a statement, and he said this story is totally false and deliberately libelous. I have never met with Julian Assange or anyone connected to him. He says that he's threatening legal retaliation as well.
So the other thing is, so you have Manafort, who they say is lying, so his plea deal blew up, and unexplainably, he's in solitary confinement now, as if he's a danger somehow to society, to the point where he has to sit there and stare at a wall all day.
It has been for years without his family.
Yeah, so he's sitting there staring at a wall. He doesn't have a deal, but we know that his attorneys are talking to President Trump's attorneys, which is not illegal, but is noteworthy today. So you have Paul Manafort on one side, his deal blew up. On the other side, George Papadopoulos, he went and did his 14 days, but he tried to get out of his deal because he was not happy with the new revelations that came out about his situation that he did not know about. He changed legal teams. Jerome Corsi was offered a deal and says, I'm not taking it because I'm not going to lie. Now, who is Jerome Corsi? He's a guy with InfoWars who evidently has had text messages that reveal that he was in contact with Julian Assange.
He's a conservative author.
A conservative who also has friends with Roger Stone. Their communication has the Mueller probe very interested.
The alleged communication.
With Stone and Corsi, we know we're talking.
What Mr. Corsi is saying is he went in, first meeting with Mueller's team. They said, hey, what's the deal with this email? And he goes, I don't remember it. And they go, okay, just go home. Came back the next day. He said, okay, I would like to amend my testimony. I do remember it, and it had to do with this. And then he was cooperating with the Mueller team, and then the Mueller team asked him about one other thing, and he would not agree to it because he said it was wrong. Well, here he is last night with Tucker.
The special prosecutors blow you up. They do this, what I call perjury traps, completely rigged, and it's politically driven by Clinton operatives who have an agenda. If you can't give them what they're looking for to fill their narrative, they blow you up and charge you with a crime.
And so what he's suggesting is because he didn't remember that email the first day, now Mueller is suggesting a perjury charge, and he will not agree to that.
But here's the communication that he has to explain himself. Word is Julian Assange plans 2 more dumps, of course, he reportedly said in an August 2016 email. One shortly after I'm back, October 2nd, impacted plan to be very damaging. Stone told his friend Corsi to get in touch with Assange about the forthcoming email. They said they have no contact. They've never been in contact with Julian Assange. They're talking to each other like there's contact with Julian Assange.
So Stone is telling Corsi, get in touch with Assange. But Corsi's saying, I've never talked to him and I'm not friends with him.
Somebody's not telling the truth.
Man,
so
that's
the
what they're
communication,
trying to figure out.
And the whole thing is it their problem, or are they going to try to establish a tie to President Trump? It's hard to believe with President Trump trying to run for president that he's dealing with Jerome Corsi and Roger Stone.
Hold on, it doesn't necessarily mean someone's not telling the truth, because if you think about it, Stone could tell Corsi, get in touch with Assange, maybe assuming he's in touch with Assange, maybe assuming he knows Assange, and then Corsi saying, I don't know him.
Right.
Someone could write me and say, get in touch with X, Y, and Z, and I might write back and say, I don't know how to get in touch with them.
Ultimately, it was looking into collusion. We don't know that there's any collusion there, but according to Mr. Corsi, he got caught in telling something to the feds that later he amended, and now they want to charge him with.
It's all under investigation. We'll continue to keep you posted. All right, I'm talking Julian Assange. Jillian has some headlines for us.
Good morning. Let's talk about Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith right now, because she wins Mississippi's runoff election. She is the first woman ever elected to Congress in the state. Hyde-Smith defeated Democratic challenger Mike Espy to give Republicans a 53-47 majority in the Senate. We will have a live report from Mississippi later this hour. Ivanka Trump speaking out for the first time about her private email controversy. The first daughter and presidential advisor says it is nothing like what happened with Hillary Clinton.
In my case, all of my emails are on the White House server. There's no intent to circumvent. And there were mass deletions after a subpoena was issued. My emails have not been deleted, nor was there anything of substance, nothing confidential that was within them.
The Good Morning America interview aired this morning. A town holds an emergency meeting after pot smokers flood the streets and clog traffic. The pot shop there is one of only 2 dispensaries in Massachusetts. The state just started allowing recreational pot sales this month. Officials expect the crowd to die down once more licenses are approved. Let's look at your headlines. Send it back to you.
All right. Supply and demand.
Yep.
There's no question that this judge got it wrong. I mean, it was a ridiculous opinion that he issued, and it does show how politicized some district court judges are. But what he did, in addition to ruling the wrong way, he created an additional incentive, because his ruling says, hey, don't worry about it, cross illegally, and you can still make an asylum claim later if they ever catch you.
Right.
Again, we have all of these forces conspiring to make the problem worse. That's why I recently suggested we should use a power that Congress created back in 1996 to allow the president to deputize state and local police if there's a mass influx. We need to do that now.
Well, that would be interesting. Exit question. There are rumors that Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen could be out. They just need a replacement. Your name has been mentioned as a replacement. What can you tell us about that?
Well, if there is a vacancy and the president asked me to serve the country, I'd certainly consider it and be honored to do so. But right now, the key is we have to be all focused on this. Congress, the president, state and local authorities who can help have the opportunity to do so because the crisis is right here, right now.
All right. Chris Kobach in Kansas. Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. Meanwhile, how do you stop a bad guy with a gun? A former hockey coach has an idea, hockey pucks, and he's making changes at one college in Michigan. Plus, the ban on romaine lettuce may be lifted, but is salad safe to eat again? Dr. Oz is making a studio call, and
Gifts.
lettuce.
If I built the Pope at the Vatican, watch this. This child walking onto the podium and wandering around as the Pope laughed. He said a prayer for the boy when his mother revealed he's mute and cannot speak.
Oh, so sweet. Yes.
And Sister Jean gets her bling. The 99-year-old nun getting her Final Four ring from Loyola Chicago after the team's miracle run in the NCAA basketball tournament last year. She's the team's chaplain and became a March Madness celebrity.
She did indeed.
Areas where they have livestock, so sometimes the irrigation gets contaminated from waste from the livestock. Sometimes you have handlers who get some of this E. coli 157. It's a dangerous kind that can lead to bad diarrhea, food poisoning, but it puts you in the hospital. You mentioned, folks in a dozen states have been hospitalized. CDC before Thanksgiving, worst time you could possibly do this, said, we're done. No more romaine. And part of the problem, this is a big deal, is that many companies do not write where their lettuce comes from. Right. Not all lettuce is from the same place, but 90% is from California. And during the summer months and the fall, it all comes from the Central Valley, Northern Valley. So that lettuce was tainted, but the lettuce from Southern California, the Imperial Valley, along the Arizona border from Arizona. This, for example, I bought last night, and it says very clearly Salinas, California, which is in that Central Valley. This store shouldn't have been selling this.
This could have E. coli.
It could. That's why I brought it for you. It's a little gift.
Fantastic, yeah.
But your staff actually bought some as well. This one this is from my refrigerator. I happen to have eaten some of this. I know it's safe, but I wouldn't have known otherwise, except I ate it before the CDC pulled it all off the market. But you could eat other kinds of lettuce, and you could have the entire Thanksgiving period.
So if we go into the grocery store and we see romaine on the shelves, how do we know that it's the good lettuce and not the one from last week?
I went to a bunch of stores yesterday just in preparation for the day. I don't think, at least in this part of the country, we have clean romaine yet. However, by tomorrow or the next day, if you look on the packaging and it says it's made in Arizona or Southern California, the Imperial Valley, then that's fine. And they have to actually put, and this is a new change, the FDA is asking everybody just to write on CDC, write on the packaging where the lettuce comes from. That lettuce is safe to buy and you'll be fine. If it's hydroponic, if it's grown in, inside, it's okay. And most importantly, you can eat other kinds of lettuce, Bibb lettuce, iceberg lettuce. You can eat baby arugula. I have some over here. This is all fine. You can also.
This is iceberg, right?
That's iceberg.
A little bit light. They say it's not as good for you. The darker the green, the better.
Right, but there's spinach next to you. Spinach is dark, and you can eat that. And you can also cook your lettuce, which a lot of cultures do.
Cook lettuce?
Yeah, that way when you cook the lettuce, you kill off all the bugs. You can put lettuce in dishes. You don't have to eat it only as a normal salad with salad dressing. But the most important story here is one of our biggest crops. We cannot throw away the romaine. We need better solutions. We've had too many of these events happening. It's a very healthy product. I talk about it in the show all the time for that reason. I don't want us running from romaine. I want us to using modern technology to identify if there's one crop, one batch that went bad. Don't eat that batch. Don't get rid of it all in the country.
How would you know if you got a bad batch?
You'll get food poisoning type symptoms, nausea, start vomiting, and you get bad diarrhea. And oftentimes we miss it.
Yeah, but it happens like a day or two later.
It'll
It's
usually
hard to figure out.
Yeah, it'll
what
start.
you just say.
It'll start a day later. That's always the problem with food poisoning. We way underreport problems in the food supply in this country, and we have significant amounts of it already that we find. But it takes an earnest viewer. Fox viewers tend to be that, paying attention to what's going on in your life. If something bad happened today, what just happened yesterday that might be the cause of it? Don't write it off to a bad pasta.
Yeah, when I heard about the story, I thought about that also, that polio-like, because, don't eat the lettuce, it'll cause this, which is not as serious as what's happening with these children. What's the latest on that, the polio-like symptoms kids are experiencing?
We've now had many more cases than we ever have imagined. It seems to occur every 2 years. So that makes us think that it's probably some kind of a virus, or it comes and it goes like a flu might, but we don't know what's causing it. It presents with upper respiratory symptoms. Then kids start becoming weak. Their smile is off. They can't move an arm. They start walking weirdly, and they often will end up in an ICU. Thankfully, we have wonderful supportive care, and it does tend to run its course as the muscles recover. Kids no longer are at risk of dying from suffocation or other problems. But it's scary to all of us in public health because we don't know what's causing it.
Yeah.
Wow. Will they ever go back to baseline?
Oh yeah, they go back to baseline. They're fine when they recover. We first reported this there was a bunch of kids in Pittsburgh who were hospitalized, but now it's all over the country. I mean, it's a significantly wider problem than romaine, but they're both issues.
Couple of days, romaine is edible.
All right.
By tomorrow, I think.
Okay. All right. Meanwhile, for all your health news, check into the Dr. Oz show. Also, Dr. Oz and his daughter, Daphne, helped do one of the Fox Nation shoots.
They were so well organized.
Daphne and Dr. Oz cooked chili.
We saw the promo for it because Steve has the beer bottle and is trying to pour it behind him backwards.
Beer on my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
she didn't have a beer.
Yeah, Daphne's on the show today. We have a whole series called The Dish.
Right.
It's a series that we do every Wednesday afternoon. So it's 4 wonderful women dishing on stuff, but also making food, and Daphne hosts it. So come tune in.
That's great.
She's such a special person.
Trade deals that were signed that sent 70,000 factories overseas and all those jobs with those factories. And now the president, excuse my bad scratchy voice, but now that the president is bringing the jobs back, employers are having a hard time finding employees who can pass drug tests, and it's just it's an epidemic that's sort of it's really a threat to our future industrial might and our workforce. And it's at Liberty we a few years ago purchased naloxone. It's naloxone. I may not be pronouncing that right, but it's the drug that's the antidote to overdose, for opioid overdose. And we have been urging other universities to follow suit. And so far, the response has been slow. And we hope that this event this morning will help encourage some of the other universities to follow what we did. We haven't had a big problem here, but we want to keep it that way.
So do you want this to be a informational forum, or do you want Liberty University to be somewhat of a hub to help the administration get the word out about all the money they're pouring into these programs?
Well, we first of all, Melania Trump, this will be the first time that I'm told that she's done a town hall like this and taken questions. And so I really think that'll have a big impact. But I think we want to be a hub to encourage other universities to create the type of atmosphere that we've created here at Liberty that discourages illegal drug use, that discourages, that offers positive alternatives. And I picked the worst day of the year to get a scratchy throat.
No, we understand what you're saying.
No, it's going around. Yeah. And Jerry, when you look at the numbers, they are jaw-dropping. The number of fatal drug overdoses in the United States, screen right shows you what it was in 2016, 63,000. And the predicted total for last year, 2017, 72,000, about 10,000 more than that. So it's obviously
like a jetliner. It's like a jetliner going down every day.
Yeah, it's such a big
That's
number.
How many people it is. Between 100 and 200 per day. And it's the magnitude of that, it's just silent. People don't hear about it because they're spread out all over the country. And it's just, it's a situation that's, if an outside force were causing those many deaths in the United States every day, the military would be engaged. It would be all hands on deck. But it's just a silent killer, and it's young people have such easy access to heroin, as easy as they did to a six-pack of beer a generation ago.
Unfortunately,
it's a tragedy. Cheap. It really is.
It is very cheap.
A lot of people would be here today who have had family members who have been affected by this, and
Jerry, right now,
out of the
overdose deaths, 66% are due to opioid overdose. So if you could tackle this, make huge progress. Jerry Falwell, thanks so much.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
A man shoots and kills an intruder breaking into his home.
He comes into view.
A school in Michigan says use a hockey puck. The police chief at Oakland University suggesting the idea.
I coached for my kids when they were growing up, and I remember getting hit in the head with a hockey puck once, and it hurt.
The hockey puck fits really well into your briefcase or your backpack. It doesn't roll around when you're taking out your books.
800 pucks have been sent to faculty members in case of a potential active shooter.
All right,
very cute.
We'll add that to the list.
All right, 20 minutes before the top of the hour, Janice Dean. Janice, today, what is going on
so funny? Well, these ladies just came up and they were like, oh my gosh, hi, are we going to be on TV?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Fairfield, Connecticut. Seattle.
Seattle?
Yes.
And where are you from?
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis?
Pennsylvania.
And?
Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Abena Springs, Louisiana. Oh, you know how much I appreciate you guys? Oh, I love you too. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. Let's take a look at the maps and, I love it. I love you guys. Okay, here are your temperatures. It's cold, but we are warm with all of the friends that have come out today. Feels a little cooler in Chicago, and with the wind chill, we're into single digits and teens. I mean, we're dealing with winter right now across portions of the Great Lakes and upstate New York and New England, and then we also have the potential for a storm system to move into the west. Could actually see some flurries here for the lighting of the Christmas tree that is going to be happening later on this evening. Traffic is going to be snarled up in Midtown Manhattan, and then the West Coast, of course, we're going to be dealing with the potential for some rain and mountain snow. I'm so glad you guys are here. Do you want to say hi to anybody at home?
Just our kids back home in Minnesota.
Where are the kids?
Well, two of them are at school, but little Rhett's home with Grandma and Grandpa.
Very nice. Very. And what? What?
Jungle Jane in Indiana.
Jungle Jane? Oh, she's a woman after my own heart. Hi, Jungle Jane. We love you. And thanks to all the viewers that come out on 48th and 6th. We love you. This is my favorite part of my job.
And so many more during the holiday season are going to be dropping by 48th and 6th Avenue. All right, JD.
Thanks, Janice.
She used to just love satellite photos. Now it's all changed.
There you go.
All right, Fox News alert. Republican Cindy Hyde-Smith making history in Mississippi. She won the Senate runoff election last night. We're allowed.
And check those cabinets. There is a major pet food recall that could make your dog really sick. Sunshine Mills pulling several items off shelves for having too much vitamin D. It includes Evolved Chicken and Rice, Sportsman's Pride Large Breed, and Triumph Chicken and Rice. Ainsley.
Okay, good deal. Thank you so much, Jillian. Turning now to a Fox News alert, a big win for Republicans.
Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith beating Democratic challenger Mike Espy in Mississippi's runoff election yesterday.
Jonathan Sari is live in Jackson, Mississippi today to break it all down. And Jonathan, she thanked the president last night for showing up the day before to say vote for her.
Yeah, she did indeed. He showed up at 2 rallies on the eve of the election, and she says that he was a major factor in her win last night. She does say that she plans to fly to Washington first thing this morning to get right back to work. The Republican defeated Democrat Mike Espy by a comfortable margin, although the race was closer than some might have expected in this deeply red state. Hyde-Smith, who made some gaffes during the campaign that were deemed by some as racially insensitive, used her victory speech as a platform for bringing Mississippians together.
It's a special place to live, and I want everybody to know, no matter who you voted for today, I'm going to always represent every Mississippian. I will work very hard, do my very best to make Mississippi very proud of your U.S. Senator.
And Hyde-Smith had much praise for President Trump and the impact that he had on the race in that speech. President Trump tweeted his congratulations to the senator, saying, quote, "We are all very proud of you." And Hyde-Smith's opponent added his congratulations as well.
She has my prayers as she goes to Washington to unite a very divided Mississippi. And she has my prayers and my willingness to help her to do that.
And Steve Ainsley and Brian, believe it or not, this settles the final Senate race of this midterm election cycle. So when the new Congress is sworn in, the balance of power will be 53 Republicans to 47 Democrats.
So that was the last one. Brian always says it's not election day, it's election season.
Yeah, we're done. So it's settled for the Senate. All right. Jonathan, live in Jackson. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, you love his songs with the Beach Boys. Now Mike Love is spreading some Christmas cheer with a brand new album, and he's going to join us live.
But first, I'd like to check in with Phil Hemmer. I promised him I would.
How we doing?
Good.
We're good.
Mike,
How are you
man.
doing?
You tell him hello, okay?
Will
Good
do.
morning. Things are popping, aren't they, guys? I mean, the president's got his bottom line on the wall. Ivanka Trump explains her emails. GM is in the White House crosshairs. Is there movement on the Manafort front? Putin defends himself again. We got a great lineup to sort through all of this.
Accused him of lying under oath.
If you can't give them what they're looking for to fill their narrative, they blow you up and charge you with a crime.
Clearly, Mueller is not getting what he wants.
Two of the most famous Christmas trees in the world getting lit tonight. The Rockefeller Center tree in New York City and in D.C., the 96th annual National Christmas Tree Lighting.
It's flying by.
Right. John Mellencamp, I think, married somebody famous. Do we know?
Probably a supermodel, if I had to guess.
If they're famous, why don't you know?
I should know that. I think he's happy, too. I'm pretty sure, yeah. I think they just got married.
Okay.
Does anyone know?
Pretty sure he's married to someone.
Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan?
Yeah.
He married Meg Ryan?
Yeah. Why?
Never knew. I love her.
Right. I think it's going to work out.
They're still together?
Yeah, they just got married.
They just got married. Oh, they just got married.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me neither.
Right.
That's why they call this a news show.
Well, should we talk about something we do have some information about and we do know the details? All right.
Part of the caravan, one of the 58.
If not, they have to go back home.
And yesterday we got an actual list of demands from these migrants here saying they want to speed up the asylum process. They want to end deportations. They want access to human rights organizations 24 hours a day. And they say they want the new incoming Mexican president to make it easier for them to get into America. Guys?
That's right. So, Griff, the tent city behind you is temporary. The city of Tijuana, which apparently only has enough money to run that for 2 more days without raising taxes or getting money from the federal government down in Mexico. They could ask them to leave, the migrants, at any time, right?
Of course, and it is really an issue. I talked to Tijuanenses. It's a tough word to pronounce, but that's what you call the people in Tijuana. They'll talk to you, mostly of them off camera, and they say, listen, this is something we worry about because we know it's eventually going to start affecting city services. It's going to affect their possible raising of taxes. And at a press conference with the mayor yesterday, this was a hot topic, and we're going to try and talk perhaps with the mayor a little later today because at the end of the day, this false promises that were made by organizers to this caravan that traveled some 3,000 miles here to the end of the line and being stopped from entering the U.S. It is the people of Tijuana who are ultimately bearing this brunt at the very moment.
All right. Griff Jenkins live in Tijuana.
Thank you. We're trying to work with Mexico. Mike Pompeo is going to sit down with the foreign minister from Mexico, representing Mexico, on Sunday. The election took place. The new president takes office on Saturday. So our Mike Pompeo is going to meet with their foreign minister on Sunday. And then he's also going to meet with other people in our administration on Monday. So hopefully we can come to an agreement.
A Homeland Security Secretary who's getting tougher by the day.